There is a purple nerd in my pink nerds. Well, all I can say is thank God it wasn't a blue one. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be returning to r/onejob, the subreddit dedicated to people that had one job. Come on, you had one thing to get right. Like, really? Really? Apologies if my voice is a little bit shot today. I had a YouTube creator event yesterday in London, and I am very tired, and there was lots of socializing and talking. I met some wonderful people, but my voice is a little bit shot, so apologies for that. Very quickly, before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. I almost forgot the maths for a second then. So if that is something that interests you, please do consider joining, as it really helps support the channel. However, if you don't want to do that and you are watching on YouTube mobile and you have the feature, maybe consider hyping this video or any of my other videos, as that also really helps push out my videos and spread the channel a little bit. You can do that by going down to the comment section on your phone and swiping so that you can get to the hype section and press the hype button. Obviously, you don't have to do any of this, but it really helps support the channel if you would consider it. Other than that, let's get into the subreddit, shall we? We stand against racism. Man, whoever designed this, like, did no one clear this? Did no one look at this? The thing I can't even understand with this is that surely even the person making this, in the process of making this, would go, you can't read the word against here. Like, this is the most basic, like, part of graphic design, right? Is being able to tell what you're looking at. There's like a really, really basic part of graphics design, you know? Contrast plays a huge factor in that. If you are using text, you ideally want a text that contrasts with the background, unless the goal is for it to be a part of the background. In this case, the text is meant to be on top of the background, not a part of it, and so you would want contrast. And in fact, it would even push the contrast and the message further if the text here, if we stand and racism stood out dark against the white part of the background, and then the against part was bold and stood out from the rest of it. You could even make it bold and then make it a light color so that it stands out against the darker part, the shadows of the image. It would convey the against part even stronger because it would pop against the rest of the image. The fact of the matter is, they've just lightly sprinkled the against into the shadows where you can just barely make out that maybe that's what it says. Terrible design. So they've got a bunch of locks on this cabinet, you know, to stop the children getting into cleaning chemicals and all that kind of thing. You gotta baby-proof your houses. You don't want your child drinking bleach after all. Yeah, well, there's your problem. See, the thing is, the deadbolt was useless, right? We can see that the deadbolt was useless, but the other lock, the cable lock, if you had done that tight enough, would work. It would suffice, and that would solve the problem. But they didn't even do that properly. You could probably also get a deadbolt that, I actually don't know if you can get these, but you might be able to get a deadbolt that has a notch at the end. So when you put it through, you twist it, and then the deadbolt physically cannot be pulled through that end part, because that would also stop the door being able to be pulled open, because the deadbolt wouldn't be able to slide back through the hole. There's definitely ways that you could do that. You could get one of those deadbolts where you put it through and then you put the padlock on the end of the deadbolt instead. Those are a thing that exists. Either way, plenty of ways that this could have been executed better. None of them executed properly. Now we have the facade on this building, and when I see things like this, I just have to assume that it was done deliberately, that some tradie out there was just like, maybe he was getting underpaid, or like a boss had annoyed them or something like that, right? Some tradie out there not getting paid enough was like, you know what? I'm gonna deliberately fuck up this one panel just to annoy people. There's also a panel missing, but I'm less worried about that one. That one clearly just probably got damaged or something, like way after the fact. But I have to believe that someone did this deliberately. Now this one's a subtle one if you don't speak the language that this is from. So this is Chinese. The character on the right I am able to read because it's also used in Japanese. I don't know what the pronunciation or what the word and how you would say it is in Chinese. I only know how you would say that in Japanese, but the character is the same and it means the same thing. So the English text at the top, that says look right. The characters at the bottom say look left. Isn't that just amazing? So the character on the right that means left in Japanese would be pronounced hidari. I don't know how it's pronounced in Chinese, but it means the same thing. This says look left. So I'm getting mixed signals here about what direction they want me to look, you know? This is a tech store and our computer is down. We know. We had one job. Be right back though, promise. I love that they have fessed up to it though. They've admitted that they had one job. There was one job that they had to be a tech store and their computer is down. That's quite funny. I like that. That's just an amusing thing. That would get me to walk in. I'd be like, hey, what kind of stuff do you do? You know, I would rather go into a shop that admits their failings than pretends they don't happen, you know? So this is a picture of a waffle maker with some waffles in it. And I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute to figure out what might be wrong with this image. I'll give you a sec. If you spot it before I say what it is, comment down below. Tell me if you spotted what was wrong with this waffle maker. I'll give you a second. Okay, you got it? You got an answer? If you don't, that's okay. So the waffles have 5 holes and the waffle maker has 4. And it's not even like the waffle is oriented wrong because the waffle has 5x4 holes and the waffle maker has 4x4. Therefore, these waffles did not come from this waffle maker. They didn't find a picture of waffles that actually fit the waffle maker. Congratulations. Oh god, though, you had one job. Like, at the end of the day, something like this shouldn't have happened. And the reason something like this shouldn't have happened is because you should have made waffles with the waffle maker. If you had made waffles with that waffle maker, those waffles would perfectly fit it. You'd have a better photo. But no. Probably some shop-bought waffles that have been slapped into it and don't fit it properly. So we got a deadbolt. Well, not a deadbolt, one of those chain latch things. Okay, yeah. Ah, what a useful design. A chain latch thing to stop people getting into your apartment that is long enough that they can just open it. They can just open the door enough and it's still loose enough for them to just undo it. Amazing. Genius. 10 out of 10. Now, I have to say it, don't trust these latches regardless. Like these chains on your doors, never trust them, okay? Even if you have one installed properly and there's no way for someone to open the door slightly and undo it because it will be too taut, don't trust them. They are not strong enough to stop an intruder just yanking your door. Like that's all it will take. Someone gives your door a good yank, the chain breaks or a nail comes out. That's all it takes. Do not trust these things. There are better security measures you can take, like not opening your door to a stranger. Like things like Ring doorbells, right? Or, you know, alternatives that are cheaper and often better, or intercoms if you're in an apartment or anything like that are way better solutions because you can talk to someone knocking on your door without having to open the door. And a lot of them cover theft as well. So if your Ring doorbell gets stolen, they'll replace it. I don't know if Ring specifically does that, but a lot of them do. So it's a safer alternative to not having to open your door to a stranger, especially when that stranger may end up just being some door-to-door salesman who will harass you and not take no for an answer, no matter how many times you say no and get off my property. Hate those kinds of people, by the way. Don't be that kind of person. But yeah, there are safer alternatives than these chains. So I don't know what this one says in French, but I'm assuming the idea is it's meant to be conveying that their jackets are warmer than other jackets, so they keep you warmer, but they've got it wrong. What we're seeing here is that this jacket is sending off more heat than your body. But on the outside of the jacket, this implies that this jacket is literally sapping the temperature from your body and emitting that into the air. That's not a good thing. The jackets around this person, infinitely more effective. The way you would actually convey this on a thermal camera is the jacket would be the coldest thing on that person. Their face would be the warmest thing, and then the rest of their clothes would be a little bit warmer than the jacket. The way they've conveyed it? No, not at all. Ah, yes. Tiles in a swimming pool. I, once again, talk like in a similar vein of what I said earlier, I just have to imagine that the people doing these tiles in these pools do this deliberately just to mess with people, right? I have to believe that because when you've got one job and it's creating a pattern of tiles in a swimming pool, I just have to assume that they do it deliberately, especially when there's multiple cases of it in one pool, you know? If it was like one one tile is wrong in the whole pool. And it was just because they miscalculated and they ran out of a specific tile color and had to put one tile of another color there to replace it. I could maybe understand, but when there are specifically tiles that have been swapped out or are really wonky, like in this video, I just have to assume that they did it deliberately to mess with people. I just have to assume that. So this drink has a haiku on it, except I'm gonna read out the haiku. Our time is short. Treat each day like it's your last. Breathe deeply and smile. This is not a haiku. Haikus are meant to be 575 syllables, right? A line of 5 syllables, line of 7 syllables, line of 5 syllables. This haiku is 475. The first line is 4 syllables long. Therefore, not technically a haiku. Not technically a haiku, is it? It's just not. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not. And I imagine this is printed on every single bottle because they probably don't bother to change the design that much. This next one, I just find hilarious. This is just really funny. This is a body pillow that someone bought on Temu, and I would be more likely to buy this body pillow than a regular body pillow, if I'm perfectly honest. I've never bought a body pillow in my life, but I would be more inclined to buy this one because she's so wide. The only body pillow I have ever considered buying is the one that has a kawaii pillow printed on it because I find it really funny. So here we have a little quiz that a stadium has proposed, and I wonder if you can spot what the problem is. So it says, what is the name of SMU's football stadium? George W. Bush Stadium, George H.W. Bush Stadium, John F. Kennedy Stadium, or Gerald J. Ford Stadium? I wonder what it could be. I wonder what it could possibly be. Which of these options could it possibly be? I'm gonna guess D. I think that it might just be Gerald J. Ford Stadium. I don't know what it is that's giving me that clue. You know, I've never been to this stadium. I've never been to this place. I'm just picking that up somehow. I'm just getting that vibe somehow, you know? Today on terrible accessibility ramps. So what, they built it in front of a door, then realized they couldn't get into a door and then had to cut it in half. But like, the ramp doesn't achieve anything then. It's not even like, you know, a drawbridge, like a trap door that you can put down to complete the ramp. It's just not a ramp. It's just simply not a ramp. Oh God, I hope there's another way for people to get up these stairs if they have accessibility issues. I hope there is another way because that's so bad. That's so bad. Also at the top of the ramp, there's like a distinct lip that is, I'm sure, you know, with certain wheelchairs and things like that, lip's not going to be a problem because your wheels are big enough to absorb a bump like that, because otherwise you're going to struggle just to get by on the street, right? But it's still a decent lip, and there are certain, like, you know, walking aids and mobility aids that have pretty solid wheels that are going to struggle on lips. That's going to add some extra issue. So it's not even like, even if this was a completed ramp, it's not even that well executed, really. Like, come on. I just hope there's another ramp on the other side that was done better and wasn't cut in half. But if this is like a symmetrical building design and there's rooms on either side of this corridor, which is pretty likely, there's probably not a complete ramp. That's so bad. Ah, yes, a very well installed sink. Good job. I am so glad that the water of this tap goes straight into this sink. I hate bad sink designs. It really annoys me. I've lived in so many places now that have terrible sink designs. Our current apartment, in our toilet, the sink is just not good. To wash your hands, I have quite large hands. Maybe it's not as big a problem if you have smaller hands, but to wash my hands and get them under the water, my hand has to touch the side of the sink, and something about that I just don't like. The sink is clean. We clean it. It's not dirty, but I just don't like rubbing my hand against the cold, wet ceramic. It just doesn't feel nice. Why is it so hard for people to make slightly longer taps and install them slightly closer to the sink so that the tap pours down into the middle of the fucking sink? Why is that so hard? Why is that never done right? Like, please, please. That's all I want. I just want a sink where I wash my hands, I don't touch the sink, and the tap just works. I don't get water everywhere. It's got decent water pressure, and it just works. That's all I want. And the final post. This one's just a funny little one, but it's like a little triangular screwdriver that comes with like a building set. I guess they put it through the machine that bends it the wrong way around. So the crosshead is just on the wrong end. So it's ultimately unusable. Oh, sorry. I say the crosshead. My mistake. Reading the Japanese above it, it actually says Purasu schreiber or plus driver, which that's a fun little quirky difference. They call it a plus head or a plus driver instead of a crosshead. I guess there are multiple names for them. A crosshead might just be a British thing, to be fair. I don't know, but that's a nice little thing to learn. It's a plus driver. Nice. And that's where I'm going to end the video on quite a casual, calm note there. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you would like to support me in making more content like this, because YouTube sure as hell doesn't. If you were following along last week, YouTube took an entire one of my videos down for sexual content, despite the fact that no sexual content was shown, and it was a men writing women video where I was criticizing the writing shown. I made no money off of that video. It is up on my Patreon. If you want to watch it, you can watch it completely for free, no charge. It's just available on my Patreon because I didn't want to risk cutting the part that YouTube claimed was bad, uploading it, and then getting a strike on the channel. I didn't want to risk that, so I made no money on that video. So if you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon that you can go to support me, or you can join as a YouTube member. It really helps support the channel, and honestly, thank you to everybody that considers it, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to all of the YouTube members and patrons that do support me. All of your names are up on screen right now. It genuinely helps so much, and it genuinely means so much. So thank you to everybody that does. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.